Hey guys, welcome back. The Premier League season has already kicked off. We've already seen how game week 1 has gone down. So today I've decided to choose one key player to watch out for this season from each Premier League club, and I'll explain why I've chosen them. This video, again, is brought to you by Kitbags, so do check out the link below to shop all their new season kits. I've also left a discount code below as well. Subscribe to my channel for more Premier League content, and let's get into the video. Okay, first up, Arsenal. I'm going to go for Bukayo Saka. I think he's definitely one to watch this season for Arsenal. He's only 19 and he was being moved about last season quite a bit. I feel he couldn't really fully settle in. He had to play left back, left wing back, but then when he played right wing, I think he played really well. In 15 appearances in that right wing spot, he got 4 goals and 2 assists. And I think if he gets a full season on the right flank, then he's definitely going to excel. So he's my player for Arsenal. Right, let's move on to Aston Villa. I'm going to go for Emi Buendia. I think his stats from last season just speak for themselves. He's an assist machine. He scored 15 goals, he made 16 assists. And I think if we take a look at another stat, which is big chances created, he created 18 last year. Obviously, one caveat is the fact that he did play for Norwich, a very attacking team, but they could only really play that way because of his creativity, I feel. I think he could well be player of the season this year for Villa. Right, next up, Brentford. Bit of an obvious one here, but it's Toney. He's undoubtedly one to watch. His movement in the box is just superb, and I think that's evident because all of his goals last season were scored in the box. If Toney does well, that means Brentford are playing well because, you know, they're creating the chances for him to score. He has to be my player to look out for. Okay, let's move on. I think a player to watch for Brighton this season is a name you may not have actually heard of. Enoch Meepu. He performed quite well last season. He played for RB Salzburg, and I think he's going to be a really great partner next to Bissouma for the Seagulls. I mean, should Bissouma stay at Brighton, that is. Meepu is a box-to-box midfielder, but he can also play that holding role. He could fill that Aaron Moy gap who left the club last year, so I feel that Meepu will have a good first season. Next up, let's talk about a standout player for Burnley. I'm going to go for Nathan Collins. I think the reason he's one to watch is because I think he's perfectly suited for the Burnley team. I think he's a great option because he can also play right back as well as centre back. His one-on-one defending last season was pretty impressive, and I did have a look at his stats. His successful duel percentage was 63%, and of course he's still only 20 years old, so he can still improve quite a bit. Now let's talk about Chelsea. I'm going to go for Christian Pulisic. I kind of feel that this is a make or break season for him. We all know that, you know, there is an unreal player there, but a lack of consistent playing time mixed in with injuries, it means that he hasn't quite excelled for Chelsea in the way we expected him to, I feel. He was averaging 64 minutes per game last season, and his stats were pretty poor. 4 goals and 2 assists. It's not outstanding, especially playing for Chelsea, and it really is now or never for Pulisic. Next up, Crystal Palace. I'm choosing Michael Olise. I think this deal is just brilliant from a Crystal Palace perspective anyways. An 8.37 million release clause, it was activated, and this is a player who got 12 assists this year. I think for 19 years old, he's a silky baller and he's exactly what Palace need. Despite him being so young, there is a lot of pressure on him to just create, and I feel he'll be up for the challenge. Right, Everton. I'm going for Jeanphilippe Barman. I feel his Everton career has been kind of plagued with injuries, but now under Rafa Benitez, he could be rejuvenated. For his previous club, Minns, he was a holding midfielder and didn't really roam much, but I feel under Rafa, he could make him a box-to-box and just let him carry the ball, which is something Everton lack, and I think that's why he could be so key this season for them. Alright, Leeds. I'm choosing Jack Harrison, and I feel like Harrison sort of went under the radar last season because, of course, Patrick Bamford and Rafinha, but you know, 8 goals and 8 assists is still a very decent season. His move also became permanent this season, and because of this, I think he'll push his ceiling and achieve so much more, so I'm going for him. Right, Leicester. My player to look out for is Patson Daka, a very exciting striker, 27 goals in 21 games is incredible. You do have to take it with a pinch of salt as it is the Austrian league. I think another point worth considering is that he did miss 23 big chances. I think there's a very good player in him, and I think he'll be a bit like Enoch in the sense that it will take him a season or two to fully adjust, but then he'll become a monster. You heard it here first. Okay, Liverpool. I'm going for Diogo Jota. Now, people may not expect this, but hear me out. He may have to be the main goal threat for Liverpool, and it's because of one reason. So the African Cup of Nations, it starts on the 9th of January and it ends on the 6th of February, I believe. Both Mane and Salah have qualified with their respective nations, and it looks incredibly likely that they will be going. So Jota will really have to step up in their absence. So I think it's key that Liverpool try to keep the Portuguese winger fit. I think if he remains fit and he steps up in the absence of these two, this season could be huge for Jota. Right, let's move on to Manchester City. I'm going with Jack Grealish, and I didn't pick him because of the high fee, but because of the role he's going to play in the team. So according to multiple reports, he'll apparently be a free 8 like De Bruyne is, or how David Silva was utilised. Although I do think that opposition teams will target him defensively and test whether he's switched on and whether he can make those tackles that they'll need. Regardless, I'm just really excited to see how this season pans out for him at City. So yeah, I have to go for Grealish. Right, Manchester United. My key player to look out for is Mason Greenwood. I think the purchase of Jadon Sancho means that Greenwood can finally play striker, his preferred position. He scored 7 goals in 21 starts from right wing, which shows that he gets in the right positions, and I think he'll still develop and grow, and he can also be an option off the right, but he prefers the striker position, and I think he'll soon become the main striker for Man United. Right, let's move on to my team, Newcastle United. I could go for Callum Wilson, of course, or the likes of Joe Willock, but more of a personal choice for me is Allan SaintMaximin. I think everyone who follows English football will agree that Allan SaintMaximin, he's an elite dribbler, and at times he even makes us Magpies exciting to watch. I think his stats are very promising. He makes 8.5 progressive carries per 90 minutes and almost 5 dribbles completed per 90 minutes as well. These are decent numbers, but if we take a closer look actually, these are quite far from the box and they're very deep. So I agree he needs to get closer to goal, but realistically, can he do that whilst playing for Newcastle? I mean, under the management of Steve Bruce? Yeah, I'm not so sure. As a Newcastle fan, I have to be honest here, I think if he can get closer to goal, SaintMaximin will achieve some fantastic numbers. I mean, who knows, maybe the takeover will finally happen at some point this season and a world-class manager is appointed to really get the most out of our squad. You know, a manager who won't just aspire to keep us safe by scraping relegation, but to get our team to just play as a cohesive unit with ambition and desire to achieve things. I mean, who am I kidding? I've kind of given up on the takeover. So anyways, let's stop with the Newcastle talk and let's move on because I have too much to say. Right, Norwich. My man is Todd Cantwell. I feel he really has to step up for Norwich this year. That comparison between Cantwell and Grealish, it's always been there. And I think there is a discussion to be had on just how similar they are. But one thing about Grealish is, of course, last year when Villa really needed him, he really stepped up and he became the main man. I think Cantwell has to do this if he really wants to make the jump to become a class player. I think he does have the potential to do so, so that's why he's my player to look out for the Canaries. Right, moving on to Southampton, I'm going to go for Kyle Walker-Peters. I think he's really grown actually since joining Southampton and he'll continue to do so. I feel like last season his defensive contributions and his attacking contributions as well, they were slowly rising, you know, and his pressing numbers are also quite decent. And I think he's quietly turning into an all-rounded right back. So I'm going to go for Kyle Walker-Peters. Right, next up, Tottenham Hotspur. My key player is Ryancesano. I think under Nuno, Sessegnon could develop quite nicely. He was on loan last year to Hoffenheim and there were some flashes, but nothing too crazy in terms of performances. Some people still don't know his position and say he's a left wing back or a left back, when in fact he's a left midfielder or a left winger, and he prefers to attack space rather than dribble like a traditional winger. I'm keeping an eye on him this season. Right, Watford next, and my player to watch out for is Francisco Ciaruta. I think he was key in the best championship defence last year and potentially maybe in championship history actually. He's very, very physical and I think that's quite evident in his aerial duels. He wins 73% of them and I think this means he could also score some goals on the other end, so don't be surprised if he bags himself a few as well. Okay, 2 to go. West Ham. Said Benrahma is my man. I think this year there'll be a role change for him. Lingard has obviously vacated that central role and he'll slot right in. I think he's had a very good pre-season, and if West Ham do give him that freedom, then he'll do very well for them this season. I wish I'd kept him in my game week 1 draft for my FPL team. Big mistake there, underestimating his fine form in the opening matches of the season, but we move. Alright, last team, Wolves, and I'm going to go for Francisco Trincao, a generational talent. He didn't get a lot of minutes playing last year for Barcelona, but that's not too much of an issue as he still managed to amass 3 goals and 2 assists. His link up with Jimenez, it's been class, and I think when Neto comes back as well, that front 3 will be lethal on the counter, so I'm going for him. And there you have it, 1 player to watch from each club in the Premier League. Do let me know if you disagree with any of my choices and let me know who you would pick instead. Comment below, let's have a chat. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button and subscribe for more Premier League content. I'll give you a transfer update on Monday, so do look out for that. Remember, this video is brought to you by Kitbag. Do check out the link below to shop all of their new season kits. I've also left a cheeky discount code below as well. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next time.